66 million years ago, the Earth was alive with giants. A world vibrated with the thrum of life, a planet sculpted by time and inhabited by colossal beings that defied imagination. This was a realm untouched by human hands, a primal paradise where nature's power was absolute, and its creations were magnificent in their scale and diversity. Forests stretched for thousands of uninterrupted miles, forming a vast verdant canopy that blanketed the continents. These were not the tamed woodlands of our time, but ancient sprawling jungles, dense with towering ferns, colossal cycads, and primitive flowering plants. The air within these green cathedrals was thick with humidity, scented with damp earth and decaying leaves, and echoed with the calls of strange unseen creatures. Rivers wide and muddy snaked through these immense woodlands, their banks teeming with life. Above, the sky was a canvas for pterosaurs, their leathery wings catching thermal updrafts as they soared over the endless expanse of green. Oceans teemed with predators of a scale that would dwarf anything in our modern seas. Beneath the waves, colossal mosasaurs, with jaws powerful enough to crush bone and shell, hunted with terrifying efficiency. Plesiosaurs, with their long serpentine necks, patrolled the shallower waters, while giant ammonites drifted through the currents. The deep was a hidden kingdom of hunters and hunted, a constant, brutal ballet of survival. And on land, dinosaurs reigned supreme. From the gentle, long-necked sauropods that stripped leaves from the tallest trees, to the armored ankylosaurs that were like living fortresses, a stunning variety of herbivores populated every ecological niche. But it was the carnivores that embodied the raw power of this era. Towering tyrannosaurs with their bone-crushing bites stood at the apex of the food chain, their thunderous footsteps a declaration of their dominance over a world that was truly their own. But even the greatest empires fall. The reign of the dinosaurs, which had lasted for more than 150 million years, was approaching an unforeseen and cataclysmic end. The forces that would bring about this downfall were not born of the Earth itself, not a shift in climate or the rise of a new competitor. Instead, the threat was gathering light years away in the cold, silent void of interplanetary space. High above the clouds, far beyond the blue veil of the atmosphere, a silent rock was on its way, a visitor from the darkness of space. Forged in the primordial chaos of the solar system's birth, this asteroid, a mountain of cosmic debris nearly 6 miles wide, had been hurtling through the cosmos for eons. Its trajectory, governed by the inexorable laws of gravity, had now intersected with that of our world. It was a celestial appointment, set billions of years in the past, and its arrival was now imminent. There was no warning, no omen in the skies that the dinosaurs could comprehend. The world continued its daily rhythm, unaware of the approaching doom. It was moving faster than anything Earth had ever seen, carrying the power to erase a world. Streaking through the vacuum at a speed of over 40,000 miles per hour, the asteroid was an incandescent spear aimed at the heart of the planet. As it breached the upper atmosphere, friction ignited its surface, transforming the dark rock into a blinding fireball, a second sun blazing across the daytime sky. For a few fleeting moments, dinosaurs across the continent might have looked up, their simple brains unable to process the terrifying spectacle. A herd of triceratops, grazing peacefully in a sun-dappled clearing, would have seen the sky tear open, the unnatural light growing brighter and brighter, a harbinger of a firestorm unlike any the world had ever known. In seconds, the skies turned to fire. The moment of impact was an event of unimaginable violence, an apocalypse unleashed in a fraction of a heartbeat. The asteroid struck near the Yucatan Peninsula with the force of billions of atomic bombs. It plunged into the shallow coastal sea, vaporizing rock, water, and life in an instant. The energy released was beyond human comprehension, a cataclysm that ripped a crater over 100 miles wide and 20 miles deep into the Earth's crust. The initial flash of light was so intense it would have incinerated any living thing for hundreds of miles in every direction, turning lush forests into white ash in the blink of an eye. Shockwaves circled the globe, forests burned, oceans boiled, and within hours, life began to die. A superheated blast wave, moving faster than the speed of sound, radiated outwards from the impact site, flattening everything in its path for 1,000 miles. This was followed by a colossal earthquake, a tremor so powerful it shook the entire planet, triggering volcanic eruptions and tsunamis on a global scale. The impact threw trillions of tons of pulverized rock and molten debris high into the atmosphere, which then rained back down as fiery meteors across the globe, igniting continent-spanning wildfires. The heat was so intense that it literally baked the surface of the Earth. Oceans, which had been sanctuaries for eons, became death traps as mega-tsunamis, some miles high, scoured coastlines, and surged deep inland, while the surface waters heated to lethal temperatures. From the initial explosion to the ensuing global firestorm, the planet was transformed into an inferno. Animals that survived the initial blast were now fleeing from a world that was burning around them, a chaotic scramble for survival against an enemy they could not fight. For weeks, ash covered the sun. Darkness swallowed the earth. The immediate firestorm gave way to a new, more insidious killer, a prolonged, artificial winter. The immense cloud of soot, dust, and sulfur aerosols, ejected into the stratosphere by the impact, formed a thick, impenetrable shroud that blocked out the sunlight. The planet was plunged into a deep, chilling twilight that would last for months, perhaps even years. Plants died first. Deprived of sunlight, the fundamental process of photosynthesis ceased. The great forests, the ferns, and the plankton in the oceans withered and died on a global scale. The very base of the food chain had been severed. Then the herbivores, the great plant-eaters like Triceratops and Edmontosaurus, began to starve. With their food sources gone, they weakened and perished, their massive bodies dotting the now barren landscape. Then the predators, the mighty carnivores like Tyrannosaurus rex, faced their own demise. With the herbivores gone, their own source of food vanished. The hunters became the hunted by starvation, their reign ending not in a glorious battle, but in a slow, agonizing fade into oblivion. The world fell silent, the roars of the great beasts replaced by the whisper of falling ash. Only the smallest creatures, hidden beneath the ground, would survive. While the giants on the surface perished, life clung on in the shadows. Small mammals, no bigger than rats, had an advantage. They were warm-blooded, could survive on insects, roots, and carrion, and most importantly, they could burrow deep into the earth. Sheltered from the initial heat, the falling ash, and the toxic air, these tiny, resilient animals waited out the long night. In the seas, life in the deepest trenches, far from the chaos at the surface, also managed to endure. These were the humble inheritors of a broken world. The age of dinosaurs was over, a 150-million-year dynasty, an empire of giants that had spanned the globe, had been brought to an end by a single catastrophic day. Their skeletons, entombed in layers of ash and sediment, would become the final testament to their magnificent and terrible end. But from the ashes of their world, a new age began. Slowly, painstakingly, as the dust settled and the sun's light returned to kiss the Earth's surface, life began its long journey back. The darkness receded, revealing a scarred but not lifeless planet. Ferns were among the first plants to recolonize the scorched Earth, their spores spreading to create a blanket of green over the grey landscape. Tiny mammals emerged from their burrows, blinking in the new dawn. The world they stepped into was empty, a blank canvas free from the colossal predators that had dominated it for so long. This was their opportunity. With the giants gone, an explosion of evolutionary possibility was unleashed. Over the next 66 million years, these small furtive creatures would diversify, grow, and adapt, filling every niche left vacant by the dinosaurs. They would evolve into whales that swam the oceans, bats that conquered the skies, and primates that learned to walk on 2 feet. And millions of years later, and so did we. Our own story, the story of humanity, is written in the epilogue of the dinosaurs' extinction. Our distant ancestors were the survivors of the apocalypse, the ones who inherited a world cleansed by fire and remade from the ashes. We are the children of the cataclysm. Our existence is a direct consequence of that silent rock from the darkness of space, a reminder that in the grand cosmic story of our planet, every ending is a beginning.